Oh my God, it wasn't even recorded. Okay, man. Okay, hey. My name is Cynthia Robinson. I was sitting here, I thought it was recording. I'm going through some issues, some things from remote neural monitoring and some biomedical equipment I was showed in the DeSoto County Sheriff's Department. As y'all know, I was raped, and then a chip was placed in me. I was raped in Memphis, Tennessee, off Jackson Avenue by Chad Wicker, Dr. Thompson, Craig Sheely, Chris Sheely, Bill Roscoe, and Jim Hood. And there was 2 other men in this house. They said I was taking me to narcotics. And I didn't go to narcotics, went to a brick house where injection was given into my spine of magnetic nanoparticle sensors. And Dr. Thompson said I was going to be used for research. And after I was raped, Jim Hood told me that I was going to be hooked up to the electronic monitoring, just like an officer and the nurses there that work there. I'm going to be hooked up like them. And once the implants were placed, they would hear me coming through their system here in Mississippi. Now, I didn't know what he's talking about, but he then told the officers, he said, y'all know this is on y'all's heads too. So the rape, everything will be seen individually, recorded, and seen by Raymond, Senator Wicker, and me. And he pays people to block this from coming out, so people can't never say what they see on these discs. But everybody has their own individual disc with electronic monitoring. And he said that Senator Wicker had wanted to see me raped and brutally punished for breaking off sleeping arrangements with him. Now, I was just crying, and I couldn't believe what was going on. And now I've been injected in my spine. And anyway, so Jim Hood, I'm going to get a cigarette. So Jim Hood told him these discs would never come out. Well, Dr. Thompson said, well, he was going to use the surveillance off the lockup rooms and had worked out with Craig Sheely to use the overhead view for, they used in DeSoto County Drug Court over every addict's head. Dr. Thompson said this vendor equipment was going to pay good money for this research. And Jim Hood said, well, Senator Wicker will love this because he was going to take and sell her overseas. So they're all laughing about the money they're going to make off me, and I'm sitting there like crying and like I am talking. They're not even listening. They don't care what I have to say. And I said, honey, you're going to be going to prison for a long, long time because none of this will ever come out. And this is all recorded on a disc. He said, the electronic monitoring, you'll never get an investigation because this facility doesn't have rapes. So nobody ever looks into the disc and actually looking at it themselves. So, I mean, I really couldn't believe what I was hearing. But, as you can tell, and you can look it up, it is an electronic monitor facility. So anybody comes in there gets placed on a surveillance over their head. And Chad Wicker said they just leave it on everybody's head. And this works out great for Dr. Thompson because he can come in with his equipment, his research equipment, his vendor equipment he's put in that jail, and research these people. You start having pains, itching, scratching, things crawling on you, Morgellons, you develop lupus. Then you notice a plane flying over and leaving a chemtrail. Things start going into the skin, creating a circuit board. But the big thing was Dr. Thompson told me he'd been watching me for a year. And there was a charge there that was not mine. A female used my identity and got a possession charge. And gave me an NCIC hit, which they do not have lawsuits in Mississippi. That's a problem. And also when I slept with Senator Wicker, well, guess what? I had been in the jail, and it's on a disc. He needed a problem taken care of. He didn't want his wife to ever find out. So, anyway, I was raped there. This was told to me that I was raped in Hernando at a guy named Denver's house. And then I went back to the jail. I was held down, and he told me I was going to feel air go into my throat and spine. And using this biomedical equipment, they researched the nerves. It's the nerves that is messing with the feelings. It messes with you when particles start going in the skin. It messes with your peripheral nervous system, and then these turbines mess with your central nervous system and your spinal nerves. Well, the main point I'm trying to make here, there's so much to tell. Okay, so when I felt this, I felt a turbine go in here, and Dr. Thompson said it's going to turn up the electricity in your body. Using the Sirius knobs he showed me, he could turn this up and down in that room. And he said they were going to make so much money off me, and when they sell overseas, they could use this equipment to come through and do the research. And somebody, either in narcotics or the courtroom equipment, would come in, put my number in, and they could move the equipment, like whether it be over the eyes, the heart, the legs, wherever, the spine, wherever they want to research. And they do this for them. And I have been burned so bad, and he showed me where these heat lamps could come out and burn you. He'd even showed me on my mother, he pulled up, using radiation, he pulled up my mother's bladder on this 3-screen computer, and the radiation comes through, and it's just like getting an x-ray done. He pulled up my mother's bladder and showed there was 4 clips he had placed to pull her bladder up. He said she had a bladder prolapse, and he had fixed her bladder. But he said, next time, if I'm running my mouth about any of this equipment, I'm showed that he would kill us. Okay? So I could not believe what I was seeing. And then he showed how he could move the turbine. He moved it up to my neck, and I was choked and brought down to the floor. And he said, see, I can kill you at any time and make it look like natural causes, because nobody in Mississippi is going to help you, because Senator Wicker has approved this research for Mississippi. Okay, so I'm like, oh my God, and being a registered nurse, I didn't know, a former registered nurse. Anyway, right now I'm on disability. I started having seizures. But, what else? There was so much. Oh, he showed me how they could run gases. He had placed, you can see a lens. If you're hooked up, you'll have a lens on each eye. Take a magnifying glass and a light, and you can see either numbers. Using a light, try to heat your eye real good and take a magnifying glass, and you can see a lens on your eye. That's photonics. And the photonics with 3D display, these lenses are placed on each eye, and that hooks you into the computer. Then from there, he starts building a transmitter or some type of antenna in you, so you can go overseas, and that's where the big research comes in. What I was going to tell you is, I'll tell more about how I went up to Fairland and Shane and Nicole Gerard worked there, and I know the biomedical equipment, I guess Dr. Thompson paid them to carry on, and they could use this equipment to watch the research. He does. Anyway, and Craig Sheely's, he had said that every drug court uses surveillance, whether it be plugging in your house where they can see in every room, or just to the right of your face and can move it up and down your body. He said out of 23 drug courts, everyone has this surveillance, and it's placed over every addict's head. Now, I don't know if he was lying to me or what, but he said he was going to be using the courtroom equipment. And when Dr. Thompson placed the coil, it's a dielectric wire, which mine is found up here in the right shoulder. He said they would be able to hear me coming through the radios and their surveillance equipment. And he said this little radio that sits on his desk and he wears on his side, I'll be coming up through there, and he could talk to me directly using frequencies when that coil was placed. And also, nobody, the judge and nobody would know about this. So they do it behind the judge's back, and they just get paid by the doctor. I had a possession charge that was not mine. And he said if I talked or anything, he was going to talk to the judge and get it remanded. But if I talked or said anything to anyone, and he'd be watching me at all times, he would change that remanded charge and add it back to the docket and give me a lot of years in prison. Well, I thought I'd really be able to do something about this when I come out of there, okay? I'm trying to think of everything. So using these chemicals, it's using lasers. Dr. Thompson showed me lasers that can point up your nose, and they can shoot chemicals right into you. Using man-made volatile compounded chemicals, okay? He makes them in the computer. He can use the surveillance, and that's how they watch you, and the lasers can shoot it right up your nose or aerosol you right in the face, okay? 2 different ways. The lasers are coming from Dr. Thompson, but the surveillance that moves up close to your face, it can spray you and aerosol it in the face. So it's 2 different ways. And like I said, the biomedical equipment traveled wherever I went. So it come up through Fairland, and Shane, Nicole, and Della took this equipment. And they were just letting anybody play on this. I could tell this started over when I come up through there, because I was placed at Bolivar Drug Court. Well, I knew they had it, but Tracy Squadford here, when I was asking her what time they'd be doing my curfew checks, she said that they didn't do curfew checks, that they used just put your house in the satellite surveillance and they can see in your house. And that I was like, you can see in my bathroom. She's like, yes, we can see everything. What else was it? Anyway, so when I was going to my house, the equipment was up so loud it was shaking my eyes. I mean, the implant was like, felt like it was going to vibrate out of my head. Well, I didn't know what to do. I had went back to talk to Tracy Swafford, and I heard her on the phone with Nicole, my sponsor. And that's when Tracy Swafford was saying that Dr. Thompson had called her and said he'd placed a chip, and she didn't know what to do. They didn't really want me in the drug court, their Bolivar drug court like this. And Nicole was my sponsor, which wound up firing me. She didn't want to have nothing to do with me because, like I said, she knew about this equipment, knew everything that was going on. And see, they decided to make money off this equipment because they could go offer this equipment to other doctors, and there's not a damn thing I could do about it because Senator Wicker approved this research for me. So I go to the doctor. Next thing I know, I'm getting fired. I go to the doctor. Next thing I know, I'm getting fired from that clinic. But main thing I wanted to tell you about, I was at Bolivar Drug Court. I had set up for me to go get an MRI. Well, Chad Wicker, on this surveillance, he told me, he could see everything I was doing. He issued a state warrant saying I absconded from drug court just because I was going to get an MRI. Next thing I know, me and my mama went that Thursday. I had called Rebecca Dean and told her about Officer Davis drug testing all the females, and he had drug tested me. Also, he'd been turning up the equipment, and I had got sunburned. And on Tracy Swatford on the phone with Nicole, she'd even said Dr. Thompson told her that Officer Davis was cutting that equipment up and radiating and burning me. Okay, well, evidently she didn't do anything about it because he drug tested all the females, and he drug tested me and told me that I need to drop my pants and spread them. Anyway, long story short, all this happened. I told Rebecca Dean about it. She was going to set up a meeting with Tracy Swatford and Judge Smith, and she didn't. That following Thursday, me and my mother went up there. I was handcuffed behind my back. It was a state warrant issued by Chad Wicker saying I was going to be kicked out of drug court for absconding. I had not absconded. Anyway, I was handcuffed. Officer Wade told me to teach you about putting charges on a brother. And I was thrown down the stairs, handcuffed and all. My boots came off. My sister-in-law, if you'd seen this. And I was kicked out of drug court for no reason. Okay, so I was put back in the jail for 11 months for doing nothing wrong. My mother's 81 years old, and I hated to leave her, but there was nothing I could do. All the mental anguish and everything I've been through has been horrible. But I want to tell you, that courtroom document got changed. I'm having a hard time getting the feds in. I had the original. It said pursuit to plea, meaning all counts. That was just on my one charge. That possession charge got changed, and they tried to add it back to the docket in another man's handwriting in DeSoto County. I've been trying to get the feds. I've taken this. It's a courtroom charge changed. Plus, I overheard the DA saying to Chad Wicker and Craig Shealy that she was going to cover up their mess of changing this charge to Craig Shealy. Dr. Thompson was paying her, and they couldn't get me off the courtroom surveillance because of the chip that was placed, and that this was going to be a problem. She was either going to get me in prison to cover all this up or put me on the longest MDOC probation possible. Well, she restarted the same probation I have been on since 2012 over again in 2015. Restarted the whole thing. The judge in the transcript said give credit for time served. She didn't give me my 11 months in jail. She didn't give me any credit. I'd been in there 11 months for no reason. This lady did me bad. She allowed Chad Wicker to come in there and testify, which had put a warrant on me for absconding, and I had never absconded. And I had hired Stacy Spriggs, which did nothing for me. He was a public defender. I paid $1,500, and I could tell he was bribed. He never told me that was the reason I was kicked out, because from absconding, which I didn't do. Anyway, all this, I've turned them in to State Bar because I overheard that conversation, and they kept trying to put me in prison, and you could tell a charge was changed. Plus, they had no sentencing orders for Bolivar Drug Court, only for DeSoto. Daniel Leslie did my assessment for DeSoto County Drug Court, and that's all I signed. And this judge was allowing it, and it was scribbled in 11th Drug Court, which I only signed for DeSoto County Drug Court. So anyway, I've showed this to the feds, and I've told them everything and what happened to me in that jail with the chip place. And I even showed them a courtroom document has been changed, and they will not go in. I talked to a federal court attorney, and she said when that judge sees it, he will have to call the feds in. So now I've talked to an attorney. He said what we're going to do is a dismissal, try to get you the credit for your time, and try to we're going to get you off this probation, because she was not supposed to restart probation from 2012. And Boyd Atkins, the news I got, and he said we can get a dismissal done and get me my time served. So I should be, since 2012, 5 years supervised probation on MDOC probation. So it's a reason to get me on the MDOC probation so they can keep the surveillance equipment. Now when I get this dismissal, they're supposed to remove all this equipment. But see, he showed me my mother's head with bladder clips. She's not on probation. How is she getting it? Then Craig Shealy, he can go to Batesville Drug Court, and when he turns, see Daniel Leslie, when I did that assessment, I put 130 Rice Palmer Road, Marigold, Mississippi 38759. When you pull that house up, it also pulls up, it's a heavy satellite over her house. That was the address given, and I was going to be in Batesville Drug Court with Daniel Leslie. So Judge McClure, they used the in-house big house equipment. And Craig Shealy is turning it up so loud we cannot sleep in that house. The radiation detector goes off. It is horrible. And that's how they radiate you for research. And there again, I've got the need to know biomedical equipment that like I said, Dr. Thompson had brought in, and then it's carried down with me to Shane Gerard and Nicole, which has carried it to other doctors. Guess what? They pay money for this. Do they control some surveillance? Yes, they do at Bolivar Drug Court. They watch Bolivar Drug Court's addicts in their houses. So they get to run the show. Then there's your problem. You got people over surveillance, and damn if it ain't going to attack drug court's people. People that won't know what the hell's going on, because in Mississippi, all these drug courts have this equipment, and their people are going to get hit by their own officers. The judges ain't going to even know what's going on. They're not. Officers are going to get paid money by doctors to turn this stuff up. Okay, so here's what we got. We got Shane and Nicole. I've been fired from 2 places. Okay, I went to Melinda Kidder, Dr. Stanager. They do frequency allegation reports. Found frequencies coming from Morocco, India, and China, Russia, Afghanistan, and Mississippi and Tennessee Valley. So I got carried overseas for research. Chipped. I got the antenna on my spine. I'm going to tell you about that in a minute, how I found it. And do not listen to your radiologist. Look at all your reports and your disc yourself, and you'll find what you're looking for if you have something in you. I'll tell you that in a minute. Do not trust, I'm going to repeat this, do not trust your radiologist or your doctors even. Look at your own radiology reports and your own disc. Take them home and look at them. Anyway, these allegation reports, when I passed that report, like I go to my doctor and I tell him what all was going on with me before I found my implants in me, I'd leave there. Well, guess what? I'm on surveillance. The people know, biomedical people that's selling this equipment, they know, so they can go in and tell that doctor, look, Mississippi is a policy saying she can be researched, and do you want to buy into this equipment? And that's how I get fired. So when I got this allegation report for biomedical equipment and telling how it's used, as soon as I pass it to a doctor, I leave there and I get fired. I pass to another doctor, I basically get fired. And it takes a minute to comprehend everything. There's a lot more stuff I'm leaving out. But I mean, some of these doctors, I worked for 8 years. I know they have to know something, but they can't talk to me. There's something in this policy saying they can't talk to me. And then if you buy into the equipment, you definitely cannot tell me anything. So, anyway, I had a myelogram ordered. Dr. Frothingham was a neurosurgeon in Louisville, which I had seen him. Well, I waited so long. I really didn't want to get a needle put in my spine, so I had put it off so long. He didn't want to order it again, so I went to, I left some discs with him, though. Some previous discs I'd had of MRI of my C-spine in my head. But anyway, I went to a neurosurgeon in Greenwood, and he ordered the myelogram. I went over to Greenwood Lefort Hospital. I had this the myelogram performed. The doctor did not do it right, though. He put the spinal needle in and put dye in me, and then he took extra needles and hit me in the spine. Well, I had heard him on the phone with Dr. Thompson. I knew he was going to be calling, and had told him due to the turbines in me, increased pressure on my brain and my spine, that he would have to hit nerves to pull that fluid. Being a nurse, I knew this wasn't right when he come in there, and I mean, he stuck needles all the way down my butt crack and to pull that fluid. He never moved the myelogram machine to the right part of it. Was supposed to be the C-spine, but he kept it on the sacral. Well, after he pushed this dye, I guess he didn't think the CT scans were going to pick up my implants. But who's to say? Here's the thing. He didn't tell me what he found in my C-spine. The reports don't say anything, and the disc has a small transmitter with it's an antenna at the bottom of my spine. This is on the sacral area. The CT picked it up. He kept it in the lumbar area. And then there's a wire coming down my spine, and there's some black knob, and I wish I could put it on here. I guess I could take my phone and record it, and I'll try to do that. But anyway, so I left there with a horrible headache. I was so sick. The next day I had to come back to the ER. He was going to do a patch test. But since he stuck those needles in my nerves, I hadn't been able to feel to use the bathroom or to urinate or anything. And I didn't trust letting him do the patch test, so I just dealt with it. I went to the doctor. I had some poison to show up 2 days later. So I don't know if this doctor tried to kill me or what, but I know he was on the phone with Dr. Thompson. So something happened there. And now I got to go to a neurologist tomorrow and to show him what this doctor didn't tell me. Now, is he going to take the blame for putting this in me? I don't know, because this is where it was found, and he never mentioned to me what he found. This myelogram shows like a coil up here in my right upper shoulder. Like I said, a wire coming down my spine. Like it looks like a little camera on it. And there's like a little radio black piece, and it's got numbers on my spine, like at the bottom of my sacral area, numbers, like in black numbers into the bone. Then What else? So that's why I'm telling people, please look at your own radiology reports. Look at your own disc. Even though you love your doctor, sometimes they can't tell you what they see. I had my mother's x-ray. You can see 4 clips in her bladder. Now, we had a KUB, that's a kidney ureter bladder x-ray. Well, we had it done, and I was looking at her x-ray as they done it on the screen, and I could see them. Even the radiologist could see them and said, oh yeah, there's 4 clips in her bladder. Well, I go to her regular doctor, Dr. Clark in Cleveland Clinic, the one I've been fired from. I said, look, Dr. Clark, will you look at this disc? Well, he pulled it up. And I said, she's never had bladder surgery, but look at this disc. Well, he looked at it, and he said, oh yeah, that's clips in her uterus. Now, like I said, this was a KUB. But he's the doctor. I've got the disc. I'll let people look at it if they want to. But I know, I'm like, what the hell's going on? So, anyway, I've got my myelogram. I dropped it off with another doctor I worked for years, Dr. Blake. He's a surgeon. I want to see what he says about my implants. And I got to pick it up and go to a neurologist in Tennessee. I'm getting out of Mississippi to see if Tennessee will tell the truth. If this neurologist wants to lie about what he's seeing and play me for stupid, and I'm going to let him look at Mama's bladder too, the clips there. But I don't know what the hell either this is bigger, Dr. Thompson, or once, I don't understand if Dr. Thompson or Senator Wicker is saying you can't say anything about what you see. If it's man-made and put in there, you can't tell them. I don't know which way it's went, but I love these doctors, and I know they wouldn't lie to me unless they were being made to. The one that did the myelogram, I didn't know him that well, but I know he didn't tell me about the implants on my spine that you can see so easily. That scared the hell out of me. To read a report, to know that you have stuff in you and they can't tell you. Now, this one group, now there was a group out of, Atlanta, Georgia, that read Mama's bladder, the clips in her bladder. He put right sidewall clips. He didn't put in the uterus or nothing. He put right sidewall clips. Now, Dr. Clark said uterus. So it's just bullshit. I know the bladder. I'm a nurse. It was a bladder. I know there's implants on my spine, and it's scary because it looks like a wire going into my spine. And like I said, Surgeon Dr. Wright over here at Cleveland Clinic said that was a zipper. And that was just a camera run down in my spine. Well, hell, myelograms, there ain't no camera run down your spine. Okay, so I know this is scary now. I'm like, what is going on being a nurse? What the hell? You're playing me for stupid, but I know you can't tell me. So I was, like I said, fired from Cleveland Clinic, fired from Louisville. Dr. Frothingham he wanted to see my first neurosurgeon. He wanted to see the myelogram, but he didn't want to see me. I dropped the disc off. Then a week later, he mailed me the disc, and I was fired. But that's what had got me suspicious about that damn disc. I looked at the disc myself, and I about seeing all this stuff coming off my spine. And I was fired. So I guess he just didn't want a part of it, or what the hell's going on. So when you're getting fired for no reasons, can't you get an attorney for that? I think you can. But a damn sure going to have to get an attorney on this radiologist. And it makes me sick. So, people are going to get x-rays that probably don't have insurance and having to pay for this. And you are hoping the radiologist reads your report right, and they don't. Be your own eyes. Look for yourself. There's good doctors, and your doctor probably can't tell you what's in there. The radiologist, evidently, they're being paid off, and they can't tell you. And this is wrong to build wires and use us as guinea pigs. This is not right. We have rights. What is this, slave days coming back? You want to try out Freon and arsenic? I've got lines going across my toenails. I am being poisoned a little at a time. So that tells me if I was taken over here to the hospital, And you can hear these implants. You can hear it loud, like ultrasound sound coming from my ears. They won't find it. I'll be taken and probably chopped up, do a damn autopsy, pull this shit out, and it'll never be found, and nobody would ever know. Don't trust anything in Mississippi at all. But I'm going to Tennessee, and I'm hoping the neurologist don't lie. I'm going to pull this myelogram up and ask him what that is. If he tries to tell me that's a zipper when I laid on that table naked in a gown, I'm going to say, bullshit, why are you lying? I'm a nurse. I am not stupid. And I'm glad this nurse thing come in. So I know the parts of the body. I can see what's going on now. You know, this is wrong. So I hope this neurologist don't lie. But I got to go get some more testing. Like I said, I was poisoned. Me and my mother both have poisons in us. And we're being aerosoled in our face. And it's arsenic because there's lines across our toes. She's got arsenic across her toenails. And she got 14 stitches in her head. She was knocked down the stairs in her house the other night when Bolivar Drug Court or Batesville Drug Court had the sound up so high, the electromagnetic field was so heavy that Dr. Thompson or Craig Sheely slammed her down the stairs. Tried to kill her because she's a witness to everything that's happened to me. But she got 14 stitches, and she's 81 years old. She's a strong lady. So, but once biomedical equipment goes into that facility and you don't even know it's there, you can be researched. And it's sad. And I can see, what you think about a rich person. If they're rich and their loved one has some type of cancer, and you don't know what kind of cancer it is, but you would like to use some chemicals to cause that same cancer on a person, give them cancer, and then let's use some chemicals, like, let's just say ricin, or use some harsh chemicals to try to kill that cancer. You try to kill that cancer in somebody else, because you got money, and you can pay for them to get that same kind of cancer, and use the testing of chemicals on that person that you don't love, you don't give a shit about. Well, that's what's going on. That's what's going on with people that have money. And the lower class, we don't, and we're being used as guinea pigs. They can buy into this damn equipment or find out who has equipment. Pay them, pay them for the equipment. It's just a lot of stuff going on. And I just said, look at your own radiology report. If you go overseas for research, you're going to have an antenna built in you. You're going to have a lens once you're placed in the computer. And this is new. Read about photonic crystals with 3D display. Read about magnetic nanosensors. Read about the chemtrail. That's how stuff is sprayed in the air. It sinks down your skin. It takes over your peripheral nerves. And it's usually your spine. It's the nerves they're messing with to cause different pains, to hit in their spine. Your pains are coming from your nerves. It's really, really bad stuff. But, like I said, those are some of the names. This is some of the equipment going out. People want to know how to get a cure. Maybe they want your heart, organs. It's just you're being robbed. They'll try to put you in prison for anything, get you in there. The doctor. You yank like the Dr. Thompson told me, my heart was sold. And he gets me in prison, they gonna get it. I don't know if they have a room there or what he's talking about, but this man is insane, Dr. Thompson, and I've proven, I've gotten the allegation report with the frequencies to my body, and I've been sold overseas and in here in Mississippi. Been fired from 2 clinics. I've had radiology reports from not read right. Like I said, read your own radiology reports. I've been heavily radiation and poison in my blood and in my mother. Man-made clips in my mother. Man-made antenna and wires in me. She probably has the antenna too. She's been getting hit hard. An older lady. This is wrong. But you see, when you know the right people with the surveillance and they get the biomedical equipment, how this can be used. And I'm worried about people in drug courts. Craig Sheely's saying this is all in drug court, but I know they have it. He told me that. But this damn equipment brought into that jail, I would think if the judges found out they would not go for this research. But when Craig Shelley said he was going to offer that vendor equipment to 5 drug courts, Grenada, Washington County, Bolivar County, it was DeSoto's equipment, and I think Hines, and what was it, Hines, and Washington, Grenada County, Bolivar, Hines, Canton, I think. Anyway, so when they put the implant in, they could hear me coming up through the equipment. And let's say your officer working there, Dr. Thompson wants to pay them, to turn up the equipment. But all I was on was the DeSoto County Drug Court's equipment and the biomedical equipment. Come down through here, then they hit Shane and Nicole. They're over Bolivar's equipment. And first it was Officer Davis, but Officer Davis got fired. Well, he had to resign. So then Shane and Nicole picked up. You want to make some money, take my equipment out, put it in places, see if they want to research. That makes them money. How does 2 counselors go from, working at a drug rehab center, making probably $30,000 a piece, having Harley Davidsons, nice new vehicles and paid for house and stuff like that, huh? Well, anyway, I don't know. This all needs to be investigated. I have a case. I know I do. And they can say what they want to, but this is stuff they told me. It came out of their mouths. And the rapes happened. And there's a way they can prove the rapes didn't happen. If they didn't happen, it's electronic monitor jail. Jim Hood said it's all over our heads, my head and their heads. So this got to be pulled to show they didn't rape me. Or if they did. That's why it's electronic monitor jail. So pull the disc. If you think you can get away with raping me, we have to pull this disc to show you did. And guess what it'll show? Them standing at that damn computer system in that courtroom, and that surveillance over there laughing and watching me move the magnet up my neck, choking me, raping me, electronically raping me, using Dr. Thompson's biomedical equipment. They had me where the nurses could watch me. They watched the lockup room surveillance, and they had that on me. But one nurse said she knew I was raped, knew what they were doing on that equipment to me. It was horrible, and it was all recorded on a disc there in the jail. So there again, the lockup rooms, he put that surveillance on me too. It's recorded. And they used this equipment, he said, in that jail. He was using it, his personal little vendor biomedical equipment. You could pull your charges up using your, it's like hooked to the frequencies or hit you in the head. So using your mind, you think about, once he's placed the lens, then he can pull like your memories. It's amazing what they can do with radiation and this equipment with frequencies. Technology has come a long ways. Some people don't have an open mind about this, but it is real. You can read about what I just told you, and I've seen it with my own eyes. But it's sad that people won't take a stand and say this is wrong. Especially, I think, if the judges found out, they would put a stop to this. And I think it's going to take the courts to put a stop to medical and prison research. It's happening in Mississippi, and there's nobody to take care of our rights. We have to have somebody. There's no telling how many implants are in people. They don't know it. They're walking around hurting, but they're letting their doctor tell them there's nothing wrong. Unless you get your own reports, like I said, your own x-ray reports and your own MRIs, your own scans, look at them yourself, and you might be amazed. You might already have something that shows something's in you. Because if you're having severe pains, more than likely there's an antenna. Look at down the spine, the stomach area. Get an x-ray wherever you're hurting. There might be something there you need to look at. I love you guys. This is Cynthia Robinson. My email is robinsonCynthia22@gmail.com. And this shit is real, and it's hitting heavy in Mississippi. Senator Wicker, I was sleeping with him. I can prove all this. He don't want my disc pulled because he knows this is true. And I've passed this knowledge on because to put it out there, what's going on in Mississippi. And hopefully pray for me in Tennessee tomorrow. If I make it there, my stomach is so distended. I've been getting hit in the sprayed in the nose, I think by laser, because it's pretty strong. My stomach's swollen. I'm being poisoned, and there's lines across my nails and my toenails, and to prove this, and you can see my lens. I've put those on there before already. Always heat them, polarize them, heat them, and then take the magnifying glass and look with a light, and you can see, and be looking in a mirror with a magnifying glass, and you can reflect the lasers off or reflect the lens, and you can see a light inside the pupil. I went to an eye doctor, Dr. Paulton here in Cleveland, Mississippi. He said he didn't see a lens, but he was steadily writing down stuff as he looked at it with a microscope. And he was sure interested. It was so exciting. I was like, well, so you don't see? No, I don't see anything. So again, I'm in Mississippi. If he knows about the equipment, they're not going to tell you anything, because it's okay for him to later on come in your house, pay somebody for the biomedical equipment. Like, I'm not mentioning any names, like at Fairland, that works over the biomedical equipment, like Shane and Nicole. Shane and Nicole Gerard, Dr. Thompson, biomedical vendor equipment, the need to know. And like hospitals are taking this, need to know. I don't know. This is crazy what the world's doing today. But in Mississippi, be careful, because this is scary. I don't think my doctors would turn their back on me unless they had to. But they found out about this. And once they know about it,
well,
they can help you or hurt you.
Right, he's willing to let you die for his wife.
Well, I don't know that. Surely he wouldn't do that, Mama. I would hope
I'm sure it's what he said he'd do.
But anyway.
When he lied.
Anyway, I'm hoping they'll help me. We'll see. We'll get to Tennessee and see if this doctor tells the truth tomorrow, this neurologist. Well, just because Dr. White's wife has cancer, he wouldn't do that.
Well, I know he would if he wants to give you cancer and try to conquer it.
Surely not. I don't know why he lied, but we'll find out, and all this will come out, hopefully. And
you don't want to believe the truth.
Dr. Thompson put the chip in me. He's the one that uses lasers. If it's aerosoled in my face, the equipment on your house is being turned up by Bolivar Drug Court, Shane and Nicole, or Craig Sheely out of Batesville, because I turned that address into Daniel Leslie. So when this comes out, people can tell the truth of what they're seeing and what they know. But Craig Sheely, he's the one that changed that courtroom document. He's looking at time. Chad Wicker's looking at a lot of time. Perjury on the stand, passing Suboxone in the jail, and Dr. Thompson for putting the chips in the implants in. But Greenwood also poisoned me and placed... like I said, he didn't tell me about these implants found in the spine, so I was in surgery. Did he place them then? I know the chip was placed by Dr. Thompson, but some more equipment was found down my spine, and he did not put it in a report nor tell me about it. In Frothenham, after I turned this disc in, he fired me. I took it to my brother's and looked at it, and I seen this, and I just can't believe. Like I said, I went to Dr. Wright. He looked at it and said, that's just a zipper. You can tell, can you not, Mama, about what that is? You can see a line with a camera running down my spine.
You can see the line, all right, but it ain't a damn zipper.
I don't understand why Dr. Wright lied unless Senator Wicker's making these doctors lie.
He is. That's what he's doing.
And they take the biomedical equipment in that Shane and Gerard and Nicole Gerard can make money on passing out. I thought she was my sponsor, thought she was my friend. But this is dirty shit, because if they hadn't passed that equipment there, these people could have actually told me what this was in my back and helped me get this out of me. I have nobody that you can see this with numbers on it on my spine, and you can't help me. I need it taken out. I'm getting radiated. I'm getting poisoned. I'm getting killed, and yet you don't see it. I'm in some shit. Please, if anybody knows of any way to help get this, I'm going to go to Dr. Cobb in Atlanta, Georgia, if I have to. If this neurologist lies tomorrow, Dr. Cobb is awesome. She's a plastic surgeon. Dr. Cobb in Atlanta, Georgia. And Melinda Kidder is awesome. Frequency allegation report. But like I said, once you pass that biomedical equipment to your doctor, if you're being researched, you might get fired. I don't know. It was mighty weird after I passed that allegation report from Melinda Kidder, and she's investigation group. I passed that, and all of a sudden, I get fired. I passed it, and it's like they find out something. Now, I don't know if that's the company or what's going on there, but it's they had to find some way with an officer who, or like I said, people on the drug court panel that surveillance of Bolivar Drug Court. They watched for the drug test. They easily could turn the equipment up, tap into that, and you can watch what Dr. Thompson's been doing to me. But they can't help me in Mississippi because of Senator Wicker. It's just sad. I'm sleeping with that man. It's on a recorded disc. Electronic monitoring. There is a disc, Jim Hood said, that can be pulled on each individual's head. So that will show what they've been doing on that computer, but also show they raped me. If Jim Hood's going to prove he didn't rape me, he'll have to pull that disc. But Jim Hood also called my brother and made some threatening comments saying if he didn't stop me from putting stuff on YouTube, and he didn't stop me from talking about Dr. Thompson's equipment, that if my brother didn't do something, he would take care of a problem. So I've been getting threatened. So I have people on the surveillance also just watch to make sure I'm okay. That's why I'm glad Craig Shelley offered this to other drug courts. They found out and are making sure I'm okay. So, and I know those nurses down there in DeSoto County know about this, and I think they peek in and make sure I'm okay, but they can't talk about it. Nurses' names removed off my medical records. Carissa Smith, a blonde nurse, I'm looking for her with dimples. She told me she had a touchy-feely car named Cynthia, and she knew about this equipment too. They were using on me and couldn't stop them. And they supposedly told them they were cutting it off in medical, but they moved me over to the courtroom equipment where Craig Shelley is. And Craig Shelley just moved me around. Now they moved me off that equipment. They could move me to electronic monitoring. Well, see, they make me look like I'm still in a jail somewhere to have me on this equipment. So people hear me talking through their equipment. They just say I'm in jail, and I'm not. It's through these implants, and this equipment stays on me all the time. Senator Wicker's covering this up. It's wrong. I wrote that, Cochran. But it's like I'm on the electronic monitoring equipment, but I'm still in the jail. If you look under DeSoto County, you find me. My name is Cynthia Robinson. Or if you look in another jail that has electronic monitoring, you find me there. I'm not in jail, but they still act like I'm still in jail. Like I work there, and I don't. Because they listen in to electronic monitor jails. It goes over their heads, the nurses' heads and officers' heads, to prevent rape. And it goes over every individual's head in there. But you're supposed to be unhooked when you leave there, but they're not unhooking people. I didn't get unhooked. Look what I'm doing. I'm all stuck on this. And then they say I'm a whistleblower. Well, hell, I'm not a whistleblower. I want to be off this damn equipment I was showed. It's biomedical. It's need to know. Dr. Thompson brought it in the jail, and then he hired him a handful of people to help him over surveillance equipment. And that's what he's doing. And then Senator Wicker and Dr. Thompson sold me overseas, put on a computer program, and boom, they're making money for the state, making money for the jail, and me and my mother are getting tortured. Laser burned, testing poisons, and we're getting poisoned every day, a little bit more, a little bit, but I got to find a good doctor to go to, and I'm just going to go to Memphis and try to find a physicist, trying to find this. I got the paperwork showing we're being poisoned, but we need a Raman spectrometer, and anyway, I'm tired. That's about all I know. Remember, look at your own radiology reports. That's important. Spine, check your spine, get x-rays, get a myelogram, get MRI down the spine, and look for yourself. And look in your stomach area. Dr. Susan Cobb says she pulls lines all the time. She finds them. But, you know, she's a great doctor, and she doesn't like this biomedical equipment, don't believe in this damn research and treating people this way, especially kids. Studying in vitro. Kids and elderly people are being hit too. And you die. They can cause such pains to make you kill yourself, or you die of natural causes. But this radiation's aging me. You can look at my videos. You can see how bad it's making me look. And trying to get help in Mississippi is just not going to happen. So trying out Tennessee tomorrow, I'll let y'all know how it goes. And I'll try to get this myelogram on here, and it's going to blow your mind seeing these implants in me that these doctors are not seeing. Okay, over and out. Oh, any tips? Or anybody knows how to calibrate a radiation detector? Because my radiation detector went off so bad, they messed up the calibration, and I can't get it to work now. So anybody knows how to anything about Inspector or EXPs, let me know. All right, thanks. Bye.